Yes, I am the legendary Burl Barer, and the large hair Don Woldman. Shadoe Stevens is here.
Hi.
And hi, Shadoe.
Hi.
Your hair looks perfect. Michael Friedlander, author of Detecting the Scam, Nelson Mandela's Gift.
It's not just money. Look what happened with this Ahmed Chalabi.
Well, I mean, I put him in the book not to make a political point, although I could make a political point. I put that in the book to show that scams don't have to involve money.
Well, that's why I raised that.
That's exactly right.
Give some of our listeners the background so you refresh their recollection as to what he pulled on the Bush administration.
Well, you know, we start off with the premise that people want to believe what they want to believe. That's the first thing. And they'll take whatever they can find to support something that will allow them to do what they want to do that's based on what they want to believe. So Chalabi was the leader of the major Iraqi opposition group. He was convicted of embezzlement by a Jordanian bank and sentenced to a gazillion years hard labor. Most of the intelligence folks absolutely discounted him. And in fact, he was taken off the CIA's payroll because nobody believed him. And basically what this guy did is that he wanted to become the next president of Iraq. And he made no bones about that. He wanted to do that. And Cheney and the gang wanted to have somebody sympathetic to the American cause as the next president of Iraq. The only problem was he had no support in Iraq at all.
It's a joke.
Yeah. So, and that's not an opinion. That's borne out by the number of votes he actually got in the Iraqi election.
It was like less than 1% of the votes.
It was a joke. But basically the guy was totally brilliant because what he did is he spread the same lies to multiple intelligence agencies. So when we wanted to rely on what he said, look, the other intelligence agencies have found the same stuff. What he didn't tell them.
He started it.
He started it, that's right. But look, at the end of the day, the issue about Chalabi in my book is not what happened as much as how amazing it is that people will rely on stuff from a totally discredited source if it supports what they want to do. I mean, that's the...
Felon O'Reilly, speaking of a discredited source, sit down right there and put those headphones on, young man. We have a real scammer here.
No, he's a retired scammer now.
Retired scammer? Yeah, he doesn't scam anymore. But he wouldn't be quite operating on the level of like this guy Chalabi or Enron. But scams are scams, right?
They're all fun, yeah.
They're all fun.
I think that's a matter of perception.
Well, I guess that comes down to looking at the scam or the negotiation from the standpoint of the other person. Where are they coming from? What do they want out of it? And he was saying that if you're trying to scam me, and I'm eager to buy into what you're scamming me about.
Well, I'm on the air here, so it must have worked.
Yeah. I bought into it.
Well, isn't it like a magic trick where you look at the shiny object and you want to believe that it's going to work, and then you just believe and they pull it, and you go, oh, you must have sold your soul. It's kind of like that, isn't it?
Well, they got to want it to begin with.
And usually they do, if it's money or power or influence or whatever it is they're looking to get out of.
Or just old-fashioned greed.
Well, I think
that's exactly right.
I think everybody wants free stuff. You know what I mean? And I mean they use it. They use it in advertising and marketing. You know what I mean? Buy one get one free. Everybody's looking for free stuff. And so, you know, I just took it a step further and just went and took it. I didn't wait for the offer.
But that's basically the thing. If you're scamming me, I want to believe what you're selling.
Absolutely.
But if I ask the questions, the more questions I ask, probably the more uncomfortable you're going to get.
Right, and then you get to a point where it's just not worth the energy. You know? Then I move on to the next one.
Guy. Yeah,
right. I don't have time for this.
You know, Bill, I've got to tell you, over the years when I've represented clients, the first question I ask when somebody approaches them with what I think is a scam is this. I say, what did I do to deserve being given the opportunity you're now presenting?
That's a great question.
How did I become so incredibly fortunate?
How did I get to be so lucky?
Yeah. And for years, I got sent around the world by this one guy who was involved in these financial transactions, and it was $30 million, $200 million, lines of credit, arbitrage, all of this absolute crap. And the question that I asked all of these people was, why do they need me?
But they got all that money.
That's right, yeah.
But tell them about the duck school. That's a good.
Yeah, I like that name.
If it looks like a duck, that's about you believe what you want to believe, right?
No, that's right. I mean, and this sort of falls into this category of you've really got to trust yourself. So the first thing in the duck school is, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, we might just perhaps be looking at a duck.
That sounds rational.
And ultimately, we have to trust ourselves. We have to trust ourselves that what we're looking at is, in fact, a duck. The second rule of the duck school is forget the messenger. It really doesn't matter if the messenger's wearing a $3,000 suit. If he tells you that what you're looking at is a swan, but it looks to you like a duck, it'll remain a duck until he can persuade you it's a swan. Okay? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, how expensive his suit is.
Well, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't.
That's exactly right. The next thing is that when he tells us it's a swan, ask him why he thinks it's a swan. Again, it's not an unreasonable thing. The next one and the next two are really, really important. There's some people who think that if you say something often enough, it'll become true because it's being said often enough.
A sociopath.
Yeah. So, if he keeps telling you it's a swan, that's very cool, but it's still a duck. It doesn't matter how many times, he's telling you that. The next one, which is the absolute key warning about a scam. When somebody tells you, you absolutely positively have to decide now, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Because scammers, I call it the need for speed. The more time they give you, the more time you have to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more uncomfortable they become. They cannot afford to give you time. So whenever anybody says, you absolutely positively have to do this now, the question is why?
Especially now it's the end of the year.
Because if you don't, I've got somebody else that's going to take your position.
Yeah, we've got lots of options. Lots of options. I don't really need you.
Yeah, but you better move fast because I don't know what I'll do if you don't.
That's right. And then, not the last one, but the next really important one is what I call smell the smell. We've all been involved in deals that just don't smell quite right. But because we want to do the deal so badly, we stop smelling. And my point is, you've got to smell. If there's a whiff of something there in the air, you've got to smell.
I've got a direct story analogy just on that. A friend of mine who I've used professionally is a CPA attorney who used to be with the Internal Revenue Service. And people would put through offers in compromise for trying to settle large tax liabilities for small amounts. And the director of a district that will remain anonymous used to pick up these files and smell them, literally. And that was one of the things he went by. Was this passing the smell test?
Was it mimeograph? You can always tell then.
See, when I get these emails from someone who's at a bank in Nigeria who wants to give me millions of dollars at random, I bet it's not real.
It's your lucky day. It's clear. It's very clear.
Yeah, as soon as they say send cash, it's a dead issue.
That's right.
It's funny because I get those same emails and under Felon O'Reilly. My name's Felon O'Reilly, and they say, "Can I trust you?" But I think the most important part of a scam is the mark. It's not the guy doing the scam. The most important piece is the mark, is the guy getting scammed. You got to pick the right guy. And it just goes against my total DNA to even promote this book.
We're giving away trade secrets here. We're going to take a short 60-second break. We'll be right back. Detecting the Scam.